Let's learn the last of our adjectives that tend to be associated with estar. Most of these adjectives deal with how someone is doing or where something is located. On the east side of Joel's house, we've already learned está claro for it's clear, and we saw that on the dining room window above the goo. In the goo itself, we've learned estoy seguro for I'm sure, and estoy solo for I'm alone. This goo here indicates how Joel feels a lot of the time, so let's put two more emotions here. First of all, there's a sign sticking out of the goo. The sign says the word lease on it, but the lease has been crossed out and a big smiley face has been drawn on the gooey sign. Joel is very happy that he now owns his house. It's no longer leased to him. And his word for happy is feliz. There's also a piece of paper in the goo that lists all the things in Joel's cluttered yard. When Joel hides in the goo, he uses this list to review all of his outdoor belongings. Usually he's not ready to get out of the goo until he's checked every item off the list, and his word for ready is listo. Speaking of all the clutter in the yard, there are several items to the right of the goo and the dining room window, particularly a rope that hangs down from one of Joel's ballroom windows all the way down to the grass in this part of the yard. This rope is useful for storing adjectives related to location. At the top of this rope is a stop sign with the word halt scribbled on it. Joel tries to warn people not to climb too high on the rope, and the word for high is alto. At the bottom is a tiny robotic toy backhoe digging the rope into the ground. The word for low is bajo. Tied into the middle of this rope are two hunters that look like conjoined twins. Sometimes they go up the rope, and sometimes they go down the rope, apparently by moving the knot around, but wherever they are, they're always together. The adjective for together is juntos. Near the rope is a tombstone. Joel is superstitious and thinks that some creatures may be immortal, but whenever he sees a dead creature, such as a dead panda or a dead bird, he writes that word down on the gravestone, as if to announce, "That proves that pandas are mortal," or "That proves that birds are mortal." Joel's word for dead is muerto. Sitting on top of the grave is an old man who looks like Santa Claus. When Joel first saw this man, he exclaimed, "Yay, it's Santa! Have you brought me money?" But the old man responded, "Oh, ho, ho, I'm not Santa, I'm just an old man." Joel's word for old is viejo. So you can hear the yay and the ho in there, viejo. Next to the grave is a lantern, and it looks a lot like the lantern of life in Joel's bedroom. It's shaped like a V, and Joel's word for alive is vivo. Sitting on top of the lantern is a very young man whose feet and arms look like the type of hoe that you'd use to loosen dirt in a garden. Joel considers this kid to be very young, and he calls him joven. So joven has the stress on ho, and joven is the opposite of viejo, just like vivo is the opposite of muerto. The last word in this scene is represented by a crazy cow that keeps coming into Joel's yard. It rolls around on its back between the goo and the rope, and it's obviously insane. Joel calls this the low cow, and he's not too scared of it because it's so crazy that it doesn't seem to be able to stand up. His word for crazy is loco. Now, Joel often uses any of these words near the rope to comment on other people. You're crazy would be estás loco. She's dead would be está muerta. Before we move on to adjectives that are associated with ser, Let's practice using these words that we just learned after conjugations of estar. For example, he was a little crazy. That would be estaba un poco loco. She was very crazy would be estaba muy loca. They were pretty high up would be estaban bastante altos, or maybe altas if they're female. He was very young looking would be estaba muy joven. The king was dead is el king estaba muerto. The man was ready is el hombre estaba listo. The woman was kind of happy would be la mujer estaba medio feliz. How about let's read this one together? That would be let's read este juntos.
Leamos este juntos.